Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Respecting the Beer. I am not Gary Arndt. For those of you who are regular listeners, you're probably wondering where Gary is. And the three people that are sitting here in the brewery are also wondering that very same question. I'm joined by a very esteemed panel this afternoon, a panel that I've never been able to assemble before.
Oh.
I've hosted a podcast with Bobby. I am, of course, sitting next to Bobby McFleshman, the brewer extraordinaire, but I've never hosted with Dr. Allison McCoy-Fleshman, who is sitting to my right. This is nerve-wracking.
Wow.
She's peering into my soul right now. Welcome to you.
I tried to give you a death stare, and I couldn't.
It worked. It worked.
Dr. McCoy, Bones.
I know it.
Flesh and Bones.
That was actually one of the first names that we dabbled with at the brewery. Was Flesh and Bones.
May well be again a project.
No, I've already said no.
If we can stay married
Don't
through
even.
that.
Your call, man. Your call.
Side project or marriage, you choose.
So we're recording this in late August, and we have all had an opportunity to collectively gather ourselves after the extravaganza.
Repair ourselves.
That is Mile of Music.
23 days since Mile.
Right. It has, and honestly...
I have the countdown going the other direction. Till Mile.
Well, and we're going to get into that a little bit, because even though we are just under a calendar year away from it, I know that you're already thinking about it, and you're already planning it, and you're thinking about, reflecting on things that went really well, and you're thinking about things where perhaps there needs to be some improvement. And, that obviously that's what makes you great, but I know it kind of symbolizes what we're going to talk about here this afternoon, which is that while Mile is incredibly fun and engaging and energetic, it takes a lot out of the participants of it.
Yeah.
I think.
So first of all, what is Mile of Music for those that don't know?
Oh, perfect. Yeah, great segue. Mile of Music is a very unique music festival that exists here in Appleton. And if you are listening, and I'm looking at you, Jason Carroll, it would sure be great if you could come to a Mile of Music, because Minnesota is not that far. But Mile is a very unique event in which, literally, this particular mile on East College Avenue, all of the different bars and whatnot are basically taken over by a never-ending stream of really talented bands and artists.
So
it's all free.
Well,
I mean, it is to
so
see
it's
any
hosted
show.
by Willems Marketing, and it's, I believe, 700 artists and over 1,000 sets. McFleshman's alone, it's 4 days, Thursday through Sunday. We have 19 sets, spanning from about late afternoon Thursday until mid-afternoon on Sunday, and it is probably 100,000 people.
Yeah, and it gets bigger more. Each and every year.
And there's stages throughout, from 2 blocks west of us to all the way to Lawrence University. But then there's huge stages in Jones Park, in Houdini Plaza. All of these are large. The Emmett stage, that's huge. And thousands and thousands of people. Or smaller venues like ours, where we have max capacity of, I think, 700 in our beer garden at any given time.
Yeah, and the music is absolutely outstanding.
All original.
Right. Yep. We're not hearing any covers, and we're just blessed to have it. It's kind of a festival unlike anything that
actually a friend of mine from Oklahoma.
That's available.
A friend of mine from Oklahoma. I've known her since I was 4. This is the second year she's flown up. And she goes to music festivals all over the country, and she's like, there's like nothing else like it. So,
right. And there's been some pretty big acts that have come through. I mean, Sturgill Simpson was at Mile 1.
Nora Jones was Mile 2.
Yep.
I think.
Yeah. I need to double check this, but I think Joe Bonamassa has played
Oh, wow.
at one of the earlier versions of Mile. I know that he played at the Bent Keg, which I'm pretty sure that was during Mile. Joe, if you're listening, how you doing? You're awesome. If I'm wrong on that, we'll issue a correction. But the caliber of music, I mean, I feel like it gets better and better every year.
And the team at Willems, they do such a great job. They bring a whole bunch from New York, from Nashville, from all over the country. Anyway, so they really focus in, and it's great because we get them to do all the work to bring all of these musicians here, and all we have to do is just make sure that everyone has a beer in their hands while the music is playing. And oh my gosh, the amount of time it takes to ensure that.
This feels like a good opportunity to hear from you.
Before we get into that, it's worth, why are we talking about it on this podcast? Obviously, it has a lot to do with our business, but I think even today we aired an episode we did with Sarah Lynn Huss, which was partially on the similarities between beer and music. And how I think that beer...
You're going so philosophical. I'm going to just steer it back to the point of it is
But the listeners
so
care
brutal.
about beer.
They
and
do.
there's that creative side that is the same. Allison and I both have tattoos.
Yeah, but this is like a binge music festival. Like, I mean, not binge drink, but binge music.
Right.
And so it's really hard because like there's so many people come to the tap room and they say, yeah, I love coming to your place for Mile of Music. And I'll ask, well, have you been here not during Mile of Music? Because McFleshman's during Mile and McFleshman's during non-Mile are two very, very different things.
Correct.
And I mean, we reduce our menu. We've got beer points we've got four different places you can buy beer. 1, 2, 3, 4 different places. And it's all hands on deck. We just ran payroll for the Mile Festival. And we're looking at, the hours that everyone, not only there's so much overtime, but on average, my staff over 4 days worked 40 hours. That's a lot.
Right. So
yeah, there's a philosophical, it's all about
no,
the
yes,
music.
not
But
just
no, I mean,
philosophical. We would not throw ourselves into this just because it's a lot of money. It's because we care about the music.
We do, but it's
part of our brand that we don't talk a lot about on this podcast. I would say the first thing we did to this building is we put Ziggy Stardust on the side of it to tell people not to blow it because it's all worthwhile. That's a line from Starman. You guys want to talk about what we do though physically to pull this off?
I mean, there's two aspects to it. Yes, there is this philosophy of music and such. However, getting 600 people through the door every hour is a feat.
It's a ton of beer. It's a ton of energy to provide the charisma necessary for people to have a good experience.
I mean, we're walking around
Cleaning.
with walkie-talkies, trying to, as soon as something kicks or as soon as someone needs something, we've got this whole network of staff that are, like basically bees buzzing around.
And coming back to one other thing from a music perspective, obviously everyone that's on this podcast today really values music and plays it and thinks about it. And one thing I would add, particularly to those of you who haven't been here during a Mile, there are some great venues in this town. I don't think there's one that is as good as McFleshman's because the acoustics, the work that was done to produce a sound system. I had 3 bands tell me that this was easily the best acoustic environment.
So Jay Counters and AJ Ram, they're the two that do the sound for it. And
Heroic was.
Oh yeah, they've been with us for 4 years now. I think.
No. Jay was here from 2018 on.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, but AJ joined in about 4 years ago.
Yeah.
But leading up to that, so we used to have these huge speakers on these stands, and they took up 20 square feet each, or maybe 10 square feet each. And then about a month ago, we were starting to prep for Mile, and there's beer prep, but then there's also just how are we going to change the beer garden? And we decided to install this truss thing above the stage that so we could suspend each of the speakers down and we can't attach it to the building next door because we don't own it. And so Bobby has to figure out this kind of engineering marvel of this truss. And when you're in the beer garden, look up and you'll see it that's sticking out. And it was 2 feet short, and you had to adjust it at the last minute. I had to go buy a welder. I mean, there was all of these, was it Thursday morning or Wednesday morning? I'm on the phone at the hardware store being like, which welder do you want me to buy?
T minus 30 hours.
Yeah. And so the frantic panic of getting everything ready to go before mile.
And that's just showing our commitment to the music, to the presentation.
Yeah.
We can sell a lot of beer either way. I can go onto that stage on 3 different podcasts, but yeah, every year we add to it, make it a little bit bigger and better.
And it's because people, if the speakers were down into the crowd, then people had to stand farther back, and they basically putting the speakers kind of above everyone lets the music go more over their heads, I guess, and it's not like in your face, and so more people can experience in the beer garden area.
And we get asked to do more music all the time because they think it's a good stage and a good venue for that reason.
The other thing, and I'm wading into something that I don't know anything about. You would know far more than I would, but the acoustics, because of the height of this building and the adjacent building. I mean, the music kind of stays between the 2 buildings.
We've joked about building a mini bowl. You remember when Ben Long was here, we would talk about putting bleachers on the neighbor's roof and making a full bowl out of this. All joking, of course. But
right, but if you've ever been to a show at Wrigley Field is a good example.
Right.
Wrigley Field, and I've seen the Dead there on a number of occasions, the music, because of all of the tall buildings that surround it, it just envelops you and it just stays there. And this is kind of a similar situation on a much smaller scale. Yeah. Sonically, you've created kind of a marvelous atmosphere.
Well, and that definitely comes down to AJ and Jay on the day of, because you can have the worst surfaces and a good sound guy, and you can pull something out, but not the other way around, I don't think. But they did a great job. The liquid side of this is probably where you guys want to go to some degree.
Well, and let's start with how we shouldn't never do mile again that way. Years ago, we just filled all the kegs. And then we had this, every time a keg would kick, we would just start stacking it in the back production area. And there was this huge mountain.
The famous picture.
Yes. It was how many high?
It's a fun kill shot.
Yeah, the kill shot's what we called it.
We could touch the 14-foot ceiling with the top keg.
And it was just stacked. And then we realized, well, this is stupid, because this was on the end of Friday night is when we'd stacked those many kegs. And we still had to work Saturday, and then, oh, blessed Sunday. We're so exhausted by then. But that's when we realized, especially when we got our horizontal tanks, that you fill the beer into the tanks, and as soon as the keg is emptied, the guys in the back immediately fill it and put it back on. So we don't have all of these kegs that are just stacking.
And for context, we're not serving 4 flavors. A lot of people would be asking, why not just have 4 giant tanks and then pipe that throughout the building? We don't do just 4 beers, and that's not happening almost in any brewery these days. So the only way to be able to handle that was to have kegs and to have different locations, and it's the way to have to go.
Our mile menu is definitely reduced, and really just because I think that we really focus on hospitality and making sure that everyone has a beer that they would really like, non-mile. But during mile, the goal isn't necessarily the beer. It's to help everyone get a good beer in their hands as fast as possible to get them back out to enjoy the music. It's really the music center.
And we had some secret shoppers up and down mile hearing that we got it there faster than anyone.
Yeah. Well,
so the way we do it is so...
Well,
we do have 24 different things to choose from. So even if that's limited, that's still a lot.
Well, it's spread out, though.
It's true.
And so there's 4 different lines, and they're all not so long,
right?
As opposed to the one long line.
We had a guest from Missouri who came through when I was working outside, and they said to me, "How many beers do you have today?" And I did just the quick math. I don't know if I ended up with 24, but there's this many inside. There's 3 upstairs. There's 6 or 7 different things over there in cans and on tap, and all told, it's in the 20s. And you're what you mentioned earlier is what a lot of people do, is we're going to have 4 or 5 things on because it's too overwhelming. I mean, you may have curbed your menu a little bit, but not a lot.
No.
You were still able to come in and get all of those really unique flavors.
And
that
I'm
people
resolved
covet.
not to punt on our beer. Just because we could, I wanted to make sure they understand what we can do, even if we may never see them again. They'll talk about us somewhere. It'll have an effect somewhere. So I would never have allowed 4 different flavors, even though it might move a little quicker and be a little bit less anxiety for people to make a decision. But we made it. I think that we struck a good balance.
I think so. And just by spreading them out, by having different places where you could buy the beer. Okay, so let's talk about the antics. So if you were here, you may have noticed some of the staff are running around with water guns. Much to Joel's.
Did we have the bubble machines yet?
The bubble machine was
They were
around.
there.
Yep.
Yeah.
But everyone's so exhausted by the end of it. 2 years ago or last year, Carrie got squirt guns. And gosh, it added some fun. I mean, maybe Joel doesn't think so. He kept getting squirted.
Yeah, well, and people like to squirt my hair, I think.
Oh, we can't mess that up.
No, it's part of the fun of it. I'm usually so busy that I don't have time to squirt others. I don't know where
Some people take it pretty far.
Where people are
That's
finding the and they were actually giving it to random people, and people would come up and order a beer and squirt me, and it's like, oh,
So if anyone's
this person
listening
doesn't even work.
and comes to mild music, they definitely need to get a water gun and squirt Joel.
Oh my gosh, it's so funny.
Yeah,
He loves
and Joel is the really short one with curly blonde hair. So look for them, and then you'll know.
Look for the person ringing the bell for 547.
Yes.
Shoot, cover blown.
So no, I mean, it says something about how fun it is, at least behind the scenes, because the staff they all sign up for it. I mean, they know it's going to be 30 or 40 hours worth of work in 4 days' time.
I would say some of us will still be friends when it's over.
Yeah. It's
That's how I
definitely
lead
an
off.
immersion. And there was blood, there were tears, there was
Always
lots of
tears
sweat,
for
always
5
tears.
different emotions.
Yep.
Yeah.
I actually would argue that it brings people closer together.
I think so.
Because I forget the exact quote. I think it's a Vince Lombardi quote or something to that effect. But adversity reveals character.
Yeah.
And when, like the Friday, Saturday, I was here the one day for 11 hours and the other day for 12 and a half. And it's exhausting, but it's also exhilarating at the same time. Like I didn't get out of here till 12:30 or something on Friday night. I don't think I fell asleep till 3 because I was just so wound up. It's hard to bring your mind down from, all of the problem solving you're doing.
Yeah.
All of the human interaction you're doing, the excitement of hearing the music, the lights, all the people that you recognized and the new friends that you made, et cetera. It's kind of stunning. And you have to deal with all of that. And then on top of it, you have to make sure that everyone has what they want in their glass.
Yeah.
So
Right.
you have,
Well, and
it takes a Herculean effort.
behind
for
the
you to
scenes,
do
we've
that.
got people that are not filling kegs only, but they're keeping the beer gases moving, which is not a trivial feat, and all the other millions of breakdowns that are happening behind the scenes.
And what's really hard too is that Mile and Oktoberfest happen around the same time in terms of the brew schedule, because Oktoberfest needs to be brewed 6 weeks in advance, and Mile is right like.
I was going to say that's part of the cherries on top. It's a treat that we actually, but we actually tap Oktoberfest at Mile of Music.
We do.
It's
Just
sort of
we
a
run
secret
out of beer
tip.
if we don't.
Partially, it's because of that. Partially, it's because it's fun. It's a fun time to tap it.
But then the prep. So we put all this money into the ingredients to have enough beer to get through Mile, and then it's a lot of investment in all the alternative beer drinks, and so the canned cocktails, the wines, the various other options that people have.
The Beatbox.
That is actually no longer a thing.
Oh, it's a thing.
Well,
Not
we
with
don't
us.
beatbox.
We're looking into Four Loko next
my
year
God.
as a sponsor.
I will never. Surely we've said this on the podcast before, but when we got gosh, this was 3 years ago. Was Beatbox 3 years ago?
Yeah. Do you remember what you did to me? How unfair that was?
I did. That was so funny. So Joel was like, I refuse to sell this Beatbox, but we'd already bought a lot of it. At that point, the laws hadn't changed, and so we couldn't sell liquor type cocktails, and Beatbox was like a malt beverage cocktail.
Well, Shaq is saying it's good stuff.
God. Anyway, we actually opened one up, and it was like ecto cooler blue. It wasn't even real. I mean, I guess that would be green, but anyway,
glows in the dark blue.
But it was a very pronounced color.
It was so gross. And so I was like, Joel, if you can, like, I believe you can. It's like, I think you can sell Beatbox. Like, you can do it. Use the Joel magic. And I believe that's when you looked at me and you were like, you know what? Beatbox is my new 547.
That was the quote
Said
of the
Joel.
event. Beatbox is my new 547.
I gave it an incredible effort.
You did, and you sold 10 of
You
them,
had
I
an
think.
audience.
I did. I think
impressive.
it was 10.
Yep.
Yeah.
And those things we still have some, so if you still want some, I'm sure they're fine. Come around. But okay, so you said new friends. It would be wrong if we didn't mention this kid on the podcast.
Oh my God.
Oh, the brewery
my
cat.
word.
He's the brewery stray.
God.
Can I start this story?
You may start the
Because
story.
Mile is very stressful, and Allison kind of approached me on Wednesday and said, hey, would you make an effort to come in on Friday morning at such and such a time? Which, of course, I did. If you asked me to do something, I'm going to do it.
You're so great.
Like with the beatbox, I even tried to do that. And I said, yeah, absolutely. And she goes, okay, because we have a young man who's coming from Washington
State.
who is a big fan of the podcast.
Yep.
He wants to,
So he's
connect with the people who are on there.
But in addition, he was interested in going to Lawrence. So he's a high school student who's interested in going to Lawrence and was a prospective student.
And
who wants to also go into the brewing industry.
Yeah, and he had Allison's leaving out a key part of the story, but he had told Allison that he thought that on the podcast that I was extremely funny, and he just wanted to get a chance to meet me. And I don't really think he said anything about your sense of humor, but that's okay because he was, you're a chemist, a scientist, mathematician.
But her parents said, because he got them up on the show, and they said, you're not as mean in person as they expected.
Oh, no, that was someone else. That was from Gary. No. Gary's Everything Everywhere Daily anniversary party. Someone was like, you're much kinder in person.
Right.
I was like, oh.
I remember that. That's great.
I'll tune the snark down a little bit. Sorry.
Yeah, no, they said that I looked exactly like I sound on the podcast.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Steve Buscemi.
Back to this. Okay. So, Isaiah, if you're listening,
Joe
hello.
Pesci.
Anyway, but so you walk in and you meet this family.
They're great.
They're so
They're
great.
fabulous. Yeah.
But there was like a camp thing that Lawrence was supposed to have, but it had gotten canceled. And so they had planned to come up during Mile anyway. And so they're like, hey, well, we're just going to hang out and I guess go to Mile. And we got to talking. We gave him a tour of the brewery. And then I don't even know how it came up, but it was like, well, y'all have nothing, like, seriously, you have nothing to do for the next 3 days? And they're like, no, we have nothing to do. And I said, well, do you want to, and I looked at the kid and I was like, you want to work early? You want to shadow one of our brewers? And his eyes got so big. He's like, yeah, let's do it.
Because he brews. I don't know if you mentioned that.
Yes.
And he brews really well.
Yes. And so he brought his home brew for us to try. And so, swear to goodness, this kid and his parents were there approving everything by Wisconsin state law. We put him to work. And so within, an hour of meeting him, we had him a volunteer badge and
it took 15 minutes for him to fit in.
Yeah.
And I don't even that he's back there and he's doing everything. You have to tell this young man once how to do something, and he does it.
You mentioned his name,
He works
right?
hard.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, it's Isaiah.
Okay.
And so he shadowed Aaron for like the whole day. And then by the end of it, we were yelling things, go get this, go get that. And off he went. And he showed up the next day too and worked again. It was so great.
And then when he had gone back to Washington, we were all left in with a withdrawal. Like, where's Isaiah? Like, he's not here. Like,
I know.
Can we get him back?
But then he
He
texted a few days ago, and he said, "I have officially accepted the Lawrence position," and we're all cheering and so excited.
What a great addition!
Oh my
to
God.
the Viking family.
It's so great. Brand new friend. All of a sudden, it's like, welcome to Mile. Put him to work.
Well, that's interesting. But is he going to work here, or is he just going to do the Lawrence thing?
Well, both.
Okay, that's the important piece.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, poor kid. And then the parents were just like, yeah, put him to work. Absolutely. But yeah,
I'm sure he's good at lacrosse and biochemistry, but
I've already got his career planned out. Anyway, hello, Isaiah and family. But yeah.
So pivoting back to Mile, you
Mile.
mentioned filling from the kegs. We talked about the sound. This was my, I think, 5th mile. I can't remember, but I've been through a number. This one felt different from an organizational perspective. I feel like you're really starting to barrel it up, using a baseball metaphor. Like, I feel like you've narrowed in on the sweet spot. I feel like you're getting so much better at it. Can you either agree or disagree with that?
we were definitely getting better at it for sure. Yeah,
We've learned things.
We've added like I said, 2 years ago we added the outdoor bar in such a way that it
Adding 8 taps to the
30%
outdoor
of
bar.
of the weight off of us.
Yeah, but then also we had a new handheld point of sale device, so we could take credit cards at all sales locations. We added the stairs to the prohibition room. That was a huge win.
Wi-Fi booster.
Wi-Fi
That was a
booster.
big one.
We've done little things like
Cup games,
the cup game. Oh my gosh,
because
stacking those damn cups.
that had a so you can want to explain the cup
Yeah,
game?
so the cup game. So there's plastic cups because there's no way we're doing glassware. And so we've got, all throughout the beer garden, we've got these 2 little PVC pipes, and it's a voting game of choose this or choose that, but you stack your cups. So
the intention is to actually get them to stack their cups.
stack the cup because it takes up less space. And it was fun. It was a music theme.
Yeah, I
And it
think
was-
one of the ones that you had, and you put it right across from me, was Fish or the Grateful Dead. And I kept directing everyone to that particular one.
And Grateful Dead kept winning.
Oh, they. Yeah,
It was Traveling Wilburys versus-
Sometimes when I would see somebody, if it was slow, if I saw someone put it in the Fish side, I would run and remove
Oh, that's
it.
funny.
Put it.
No,
in
I saw you put a full stack in the Dead and then 1 in Fish.
Yeah.
which is
But there was-
worse than none. But
Well, because I like Fish too, but
Yeah.
Stevie Nicks versus Pat Benatar, Aretha Franklin versus Etta James. And then my
that was a
favorite.
good one.
Yeah. And then my favorite one was Dolly versus Dolly. Because when I stopped to think, who could I put against Dolly Parton?
No.
Nobody.
Right.
So the only one who can compete against Dolly is herself. Because she's a badass. And it's actually a little asterisk that said, because Dolly's a badass.
right.
Trying to think of the others.
we might expand the game to more of Mile too. We're talking about Mile. to Mile
Yeah,
about
we're
this.
trying to work
Yeah.
with Mile Williams Marketing about doing more of everyone gets the same kind of cup and the same kind of plastic. Therefore, we can get a buyer to then like recycle the cups.
But also
and-
the game, the stat game,
Yeah.
has been talked about.
Anyway,
too.
but no, Mile is
It's the little things that don't seem sexy that make it streamlined. That's the moral of that story.
yeah.
So we have about 2 minutes left. I want to give you 1 minute for your closing thoughts on Mile,
Oh my
and
gosh.
then I'm going to give you a minute for your closing thoughts. And I'm going to go with you first because you already gave me the death glare.
That's fair. Mile is one of the most extraordinary events, and 1,000 thanks to Williams Marketing for putting it on. But also, we could not do it without our staff. The staff work their asses off, and that's in our volunteers as well. There's a camaraderie that's formed, and it brings me to tears thinking of it because they are so good. We could only be as successful during Mile because of the people who work here.
Yep, that's in front and behind for sure. What the people do in front is grueling. That the people in back don't want a part of if they can avoid it because they know what goes into that, and vice versa. It's really hard work getting this pulled off. But Allison's right. Williams has made something. We're part of it. We opened at the perfect time. We moved here the first year of Mile. Mm-hmm. So I've been to every single Mile, and it just happens to be the year we moved here. And I watched it grow from 40 people in a little bar down the street to what it is now, and it was quoted by many people as as being the best one yet. The Mile 12 was the best version of Mile that has happened yet. So yeah, there's a lot of stuff happening with Mile. It's getting evolving from what it is right now to a new people, and it's going to take on a new face, bigger and better every year.
So during next year, Mile, if you want to reach out in early July, we're always looking for volunteers to join the Crazy Mile team.
Isaiah,
Come meet Isaiah when he's here.
Do you have your brew schedule ready?
for next
Mile?
year. Well, I was going to talk about how this actually overlaps with our Oktoberfest scheduling.
That's another episode.
Which is another episode, but it's worth mentioning that it makes this all the more difficult to pull off.
Oh my gosh, we
They
lose so
happen
much
at the same
sleep.
time.
Oh,
Yeah.
go team.
So, should someone volunteer for working at Mile of Music on behalf of McFleshman's?
Oh,
What are the benefits?
Oh, that's such a great question. So not only do they get a gift card, but we also have a celebration after the fact where we have Jacob's Meat Market from down the street from actually where we live, donates these wonderful bratwursts. And we have this wonderful bratwurst cookout, I guess. And we also celebrate just everybody who's involved with Mile and share beers and have fun. So, yay.
Sounds like a winner. Well, on that note, thank you to the two doctors of beer. That will conclude this episode of Respecting the Beer. Another episode without Gary Arndt. The producer of Respecting the Beer is David Kelso. Without David, there would be no show. Make sure to subscribe to the show in your favorite podcast player so you never miss an episode. And join the Facebook group to get updates between the episodes and support the show over on Patreon. Patrons to the show get early access to shows such as our Prohibition show, which is on there right now, and also access to special beer. Links to both of those things can be found in the show notes. And until next time, please remember to respect the beer.